I want to draw your attention to the chart that we were looking at on the screen there. The market is now up 105 points. We had told you it was up about 78. So that's the S&P. That is up as well. This is telling you that investors like this news because what they're hearing in it is that the Fed's going to wait longer. Let's bring in the panel for their reaction here now. Fox Business's senior correspondent, Charlie Gasparino. We also have Tom Sullivan from Fox Business, and from NewOak Asset Management, Jimmy Frischling is with us. One of the things that stuck out to me, they talked about low wage growth, which indicates slack demand for workers out there. Tom, go ahead.
Well, first of all, there's over 4 million open jobs. But if you look at where they are, they're in retail and they're in low-paying jobs. And so there's a lot of people that have jobs that they don't want because all these jobs are low-paying jobs that are open. Secondly is that most of the jobs, the heavy majority, are for people older than 55 years of age. So there still is a labor wage problem in this country that hasn't gone away.
Market loving it, Jimmy.
Yeah, I think the jobs report last week was a very robust number, except when you sifted through it, you saw the stagnant wage growth. And that's what the Fed is highlighting. That
the labor force participation rate.
They want to stay the course. They need reasons to stay the course. So they took a bullish job number and converted it into somewhat bearish.
Well, I'll quote Anthony Scaramucci, our very own Mooch. The bullish case for the market continues, and this just underscores it. We should point out the market was down this morning, so this is a fairly significant rally right now.
Absolutely. All right, tragic news out of Dallas today. Officials there confirming Ebola patient Thomas Duncan has died. Duncan was the first person to be diagnosed with the virus in the U.S. Meanwhile, the 5 busiest U.S. airports are now screening for the deadly virus. They're expected to give travelers questionnaires and test their temperatures. So we had the Fed minutes. This was the other big news of the day so far, that this patient died even though he had the experimental medicine that's now being used in so many cases. Go ahead.
Well, I think the bigger story, I mean, this is a tragic story, and I want to understate it. I mean, this poor gentleman died of this. But the bigger story, I think, is if you're following the Ebola issue, is what happened in Spain, how the nurse that was dealing with missionaries overseas, she apparently contracted it by taking off her hazmat suit. Now,
I don't know. I mean, I'm always worried about the details of those stories.
Well, think about it. Here's the problem. We don't know. They're not releasing the details of any of this. And here's where it becomes an issue. It is less contagious than the common cold. But you can get it, but you can get it in certain ways that involve sort of casual contact.
This idea of government people taking your temperature when you get off the airplane is crazy, because the guy who did die today got off the airplane and had no symptoms, no fever until after he was here. So they won't. It's another one of these things.
I mean, so they're going to. Let me just tell people. They're going to the 5 busiest airports in the U.S. Federal authorities. That's JFK, Dulles, O'Hare, Hartsfield Jackson Airport, and Newark Liberty, and they're targeting specific flights. They're going to sit there and take their temperature.
It's absurd.
It is absurd.
It's absurd. If you got it,
the only thing more absurd is not doing it at all.
Let's see. When you come into the United States, they're going to take your temperature.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, say by the way, there's a 3-week incubation period on Ebola. But say you actually have it, and you want to at least get treated in this country. You're going to lie.
We're behind the curve in this. So I agree. It is better than nothing. But they have to. We have to get our hands around this.
So what else should we do? Should we stop flights?
Yes. It's not better than nothing. It's the same as the TSA. It's all for show to make it look like somebody's doing something, but it's totally ineffective. The guy came in here without a fever. Should we
stop flights? Is the real question.
Right. That was the next question.
And I said yes, and that there will be an economic impact to that. There will be a money.
Tom, do you agree with that? Should we stop the flights?
No, the airline should be the one who decides. Let me look at your passport. Have you been in these 3 Western African countries? If you have been, you don't get to get on the plane.
Okay. We are not organized to do this.
All right. Amazon employees are heading to the Supreme Court today. Warehouse workers for the internet giant claiming that they should be paid for the time that they spend waiting online to be checked for stolen goods. This is really interesting. So it isn't just Amazon. This happens in lots of places. I mean, I know plenty of people who work in retail, and on your way in and out, you stand in line, they check your bags to see what you're bringing in, and then to make sure you're not stealing anything on the way out when you go. This is time, can be, in the case of Amazon, the average wait time, I think, is 25 minutes. Not being paid for this time. They're saying it's not fair because they don't have a choice. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, as a business owner, I deal with fair labor standard issues quite a bit. And this one, the interpretation is difficult. This one, when does the day start and when does it stop? It seems the employee has
when you get on the premises.
Yes, so the employee has no choice but to follow the procedures that are put in place. So I have to say, I think Amazon and the companies that aren't compensating employees for this screening actually are going to lose.
Tom, what do you think?
Well, look, I think the labor standards have gotten way, way, way too tight in favor of the employee. But in this particular case, you're hiring somebody for their time.
Yeah.
And you hire them from 8 until 5. If you don't let them out until 5:30, you got to pay them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Apple better keep a tab on those teens. Piper Jaffray's Gene Munster says millennials are going to take a hard pass on the Apple Watch. But despite the lackluster love of the new gadget, teens are still all in on the iPhone. Charlie Gasparino, are you getting an Apple Watch the minute it comes out?
I've said
You're
it.
a hip guy.
I've said it.
You're athletic.
Yes, but I've said it to you many times. That was a bridge too far.
You think?
That is jump in the shot. That's Fonz jump in the shot. Wearing an Apple Watch is Fonz jump in the shark. I'm coining that phrase.
Okay, all right. I disagree. I mean, my kids are they're not teens, but they're very excited about this. Everything Apple sells.
You're asking me to think like a teen, okay?
Yes.
Now, maybe,
aren't you a teenager?
Yes, at heart.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
You got 70+% of teens who have the iPhone or want an iPhone. By
that
the way,
was a crazy
on this
stat.
study, I learned I'm in the 1% because I got a BlackBerry still.
I love
me
BlackBerry.
too.
And getting 17%, you know what? Maybe that's not a bad number.
Well, I mean, 73% say their next phone will be an iPhone. 67% say their current phone is an iPhone. And somehow we think all these Apple enthusiasts are not going to buy the watch. I don't know. I don't buy it. Time will tell. Speaking of iPhone love, one man in Detroit is willing to sell his house for a new iPhone 6. This is really amazing. He also said that he would accept a 32-gig iPad.
Now, you know, there was once a house in Detroit, I read a story that went for $1.
Well, this is about in that category. He had it up for $5,000. No one wanted it. I think he had it up for $1,000. So far, one woman said she'd be interested in the house for wood. Another said that they would give him an iPhone 5, but not a 6. Another offered him $850 or $700.
So this is really a story about Detroit.
It is. It's a sad commentary on Detroit.
The alleged turnaround of Detroit.
Is this the actual house? Look at this.
I think it could have been a nice house at some point, but you know, Detroit.
That's not so nice.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know,
and he owes $6,000 in taxes, by the way. Sorry, I should slide that in.
You know, one thing I will say about Detroit, there are private equity firms, to make this a business story a little bit, that would love to knock down, to take the land and redo it.
Yep.
It's an interesting scenario.
It is.
They toss it around in the city council has there, but they haven't made a move on it.
Before we go, I want to show you guys the markets because the Dow is up triple digits. We gave you the FOMC minutes at the very top. Several members wanted to drop considerable time phrase, referring to how long rates would be at zero. Wall Street is loving this right now. They talked about the slack in the labor market. They talked about how wage growth is stagnant, basically trash talking the economy, making excuses for why they're going to leave rates lower longer. That's what the market heard. We were up about 78 points before those minutes hit. Now we've doubled that gain on the day. So obviously investors are liking this. Tom, real quick.
Look, the meeting is coming up in just a couple of weeks. These were the minutes. This will be the meeting, I think, will be they're going to stop the QE, and then everybody's going to wring their hands to figure out when they're going to raise interest rates.
All right. Uncle